Hi, I'm Cameron from North Wing. Today I'm going to give you a video of the SkyMax trike, showing you the features and the parts of the SkyMax trike, kind of a video manual. So let's get started. I'm going to start on the front end here. Of course, we have the front wheel, and I'm going to show you some features of this the front fork assembly. We have a scrub brake that's held up with the bungee cord that goes around the stops, and these little red pegs are the stop for turning. We have the throttle cable and the rear gear release lever and the cable to go with that. We're going to take off your fork. You'll be taking these cables off, and they have a slot right here that allows you to remove the whole housing. So it's very quick and easy to remove the cables from the front fork. This is the pivot pin. That's the pin you take off to remove the fork. Just a quick pull that out, and you're ready to take the fork off. We'll come back here to the limiter tube. We have 3 bolts in the limiter tube, the lower and the upper bolt and the center bolt. Just to take the limiter tube off, the top and bottom bolt is what you'd take off. When you fold it up to put in the bag, you'll take off the center bolt and take the limiter tube apart into 2 pieces. All right, and then we'll come back here to the hammock seat post. Also incorporates the cleat for the rear gear to keep the rear gear up. But the hammock seat just comes off the post, the side posts here. And to take the post out, when you fold up the trike, there's a pin over here on this side. It just pulls out of the root tube, and then the whole seat post comes out. I'll hook that back up. Okay, so that was the seat post. These side panels unzip so that you can come in here and inspect the hardware to make sure everything's tight, of course, for flying. This pit pin here is the one you would take out to fold this front root tube up. Okay. So as I mentioned before, this cleat is to hold the landing gear up. You'll pull this rope. Once you release the lever here, then you'll pull this rope and pull the gear up, and it cleats, pulling to the right, cleats it into the clam cleat here and holds the gear up. To release it, of course, just pull it to the left and lower the gear down. It locks in automatically. Okay, we'll go on back here to the seat belt, and I might as well sit in here and show you that. It's a 5-point seat belt. Turn the lever to the right, and then we're able to lock in all of our seat belts, shoulder straps, and lap belt. And then just adjust it to your liking. And then get out, just pull the lever over to the left, and it all releases all the seat belts at the same time. And we keep going back here. We have the parachute door. And this is where you would stow your parachute in the parachute container. And your red handle would come through here, and you'll have access to your parachute handle right here. The bridle comes up on these Velcro stays, and it would hook into the bridle that goes up to the mast, which is not on this trike, but it's supplied with the trike. All right. These side skirts, they have zippers on them so you can inspect the inside, open it up, and make sure all your bolts are secure and everything else on your pre-flight. Okay, if we come on back here, we have the pull cord for the pull start engine, and that disconnects from the lower pull cord so you can take the whole mast off. And this is explained more in the video breaking down the trike, which is on the YouTube channel as we speak. Okay, on this side over here, just since we're talking about the motor and the starting, this is the choke for the 100 horsepower unit. Pull that out for choking, and then this is a kill switch. It's not an on-off switch, so it's always on when you start the engine. The way to shut it off is to push this button in. Okay, so back here is the over center plates that keep the lower mast into position, and that locks into position. We have a bungee cord that just holds a slight tension on that, so in any bumping around or whatever you're doing, taxiing, it doesn't release. Here's the rear axle. This is a fiberglass rear axle, so you have some suspension from here to here. The release latch for the retract gear is right here, and it's these are the cables that pull those up. So in your pre-flight, you want to make sure these cables are not on the outside of that. Make sure they're in their receptacle. And we'll go out here to the tire. The tire does come off very quickly with just a ball lock pin. So for easy transport, easy disassembly. Okay, now let's review the skid plate. This is the skid plate that's strong enough to land on. So if you're out flying and you have no other place to land but really soft dirt or soft sand or high grass, you may just want to leave your gear up and skid in on the skid plate, and that will keep the trike from possibly flipping over if you're in real soft conditions or real tall grass. Okay, so I'll show you the lower part of the mast. When you do take the mast off, there's two bolts here to take off, the lower bolt and the upper bolt to take off to remove the mast, to pack it up small, and they have their own case, which is shown in the other video. This engine is the smallest of the engines, a 100cc EOS engine. We use a 2-blade carbon prop. Horsepower on this is 21 horsepower. The next one up is the 150, which is 25 horsepower. These are available in electric start if you want to go that way, but of course we're all about saving weights, and they're easy to start by hand. Okay, well, I don't have the gas tank in this trike, but this is the quick disconnect. The tank would have the other side of that. They are a disconnect that has a valve in it, so when you take the disconnect apart, gas won't leak out of either side for transport. Okay, on top of the mast we have the pivot block, and we're going to ask you what size keel you're going to be hooking up to this trike, or what size keel your wing has on, or your glider, so that we can give you the correct block size that goes in between these plates. So if you have different wings you're flying on this, you can change out that plastic block to different hole sizes for each different keel. If you have a very large glider, like a tandem glider, or a lot of the larger hang gliders, they have a taller control frame. So we have a taller mast for both. This is a short mast for an average of a 65-inch down tube. The taller mast that we build to is for around a 68-inch down tube. And then a tandem glider is usually 70 to 72-inch down tube. So that would even take a taller mast. So we need to know what wing you plan to use on this. Okay, so just go over the parts again of the trike, just so you have the nomenclature correct. We got the front fork, the front root tube, the front limiter tube. Underneath here is the rear root tube. We got the lower mast, the upper mast, and engine mount, and the rear landing gear. So that's your basic nomenclatures of the parts of the SkyMax trike. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video of the features and the parts of the SkyMax trike. And maybe the SkyMax trike will be in your future. And thanks again for watching.